The name Maha Al-Ghunaim may not be especially well known on Bay Street, but in financial circles in the Middle East, she's a superstar. She built the Kuwaiti investment giant Global Investment House and helped steer it through the Great Recession. And she's made Forbes' list of the 100 most influential women in the world. I spoke earlier with her and asked what she thinks has been the secret to her success.
I founded this company in the year 1998 with a group of friends, actually colleagues in the business. I've always been trained in investment companies. My first experience was in a company called KFTCIC, which was the investment arm of the government of Kuwait, known as the Kuwait Investment Authority. And that gave me huge exposure to a lot of transactions. And they, at that time, really took care of the young Kuwaitis who were entering the workforce. So they trained us well, took us abroad, had some internship experience with international banks around the world, and gave me a very good foundation. My major is actually in mathematics. So I didn't take too many business classes at that time, maybe one accounting and one economics, and that was about it. And I had to learn things from scratch. And the beauty of it is that I started from the bottom of the ladder.
So that's your success, is from building right from the bottom?
Exactly, because I started from the bottom and learned how things are done and gradually moved my way up the ladder. But I think the two most important reasons for my success was I was passionate about learning and enjoying what I was doing, and that gave me a lot of drive to continue to learn. And the second issue is that I had to read a lot and commit to the task rather than just ride the wave. So I really never thought in my dream I would be where I am today, but it just happened naturally as I continued to devote time and efforts into learning more and be creative and dedicated to the job.
Tell us a little bit about being a successful businesswoman in the Middle East, and how is that environment changing? I'm wondering what you've seen over the years that you've been active in business in that part of the world.
It has changed a lot. I remember when we first started in early 80s, up to the 1990, which was the invasion of Kuwait, there were very few women in the business world or in the investment field. And also I have relationships with a lot of family businesses. And even in the family businesses in the region and in Kuwait, it was very rare that you would see the daughter. You would see the father, the son, sometimes even the son-in-law, but rarely do you see the actual daughter. And now, 20 years down the line, meetings that I go to see my clients, many times you would see the daughter sitting on the right-hand side with her father. And we're also seeing a lot of women moving up the ladder career-wise in a lot of the banking institutions and the larger institutions in Kuwait.
So you feel the environment is changing for the better?
Very much so.
Okay. Now your firm, Global Investment House, you've grown phenomenally from very few employees to hundreds now. What has been your strategy for growth?
When we first started Global, we wanted to create an investment company that would add value to the capital markets where we operate. So at that time, I remember having a meeting with the governor of the Central Bank of Kuwait, and I asked him, what is it that's missing in the investment capital markets? And he told me one of the important things is there are no financial products. There's only real estate or equities, and there aren't that many alternatives, and we need to introduce new instruments within the capital markets. And his other concern was there's no research. Very little efforts is being put by the large commercial banks in developing research and data about the markets. And I took that to heart. And I think when we created Global, we wanted to make sure that we make a difference, that we widen the capital markets rather than everybody competing for the same slice, make the pie larger. And therefore, we started to create very important new funds and products. They may be so simple in the advanced economies and in the Western capital markets, such as creating bonds market, creating private equity market, doing index money market funds. Simple things did not exist before Global was established. So that helped a lot and focused a lot on the research.
You had to change your strategy a lot after the financial crisis, though, right?
Definitely.
Because you were in a bit of a situation there for a while.
We were, definitely. I think, like I was saying yesterday, the financial crisis was like a tsunami. Hit everyone all around the globe. And it doesn't matter whether you were on the second floor or you were on the 40th floor. You felt the effect of that tsunami. And it's also not due to just simply outside external factors, but also some mistakes that we have to acknowledge in the way we have progressed. But I take that with a bit of wisdom, and I understand that what happened to my company in particular, because of the boom that has happened in the region, the growth was so phenomenal and so quick that maybe we lost track a little bit. Instead of just focusing on providing fee business, we went into principal investments. Credit was so available. I mean, you would ask for $100 million, you will end up getting $300 million. Banks were chasing you to lend you. And we ended up growing our principal investment portfolio to a magnitude that I don't think it was suitable to our short-term liabilities. So when the financial crisis hit us, we found ourselves incapable of liquidating these assets to repay some of the debts. And simultaneously, all the banks, whether they were international, regional, or local, decided to close the tap and cut all money market lines simultaneously across the globe. So there was no solution but to restructure and to renegotiate. But today, we're in a very good position.
So now, in the news, we report a lot about the troubles in the economy in the U.S. and certainly in Europe. I'm wondering, from your perspective of where you sit, when you're looking for a return, good return on your money, what are you looking at nowadays?
We're very much focused on the GCC. And we believe we've created this company to provide the best opportunities in the GCC and the Middle East to our clients in the Gulf and in the Middle East. So we never claim to be the experts on which equity to pick in the United States or which bond to buy internationally. When our clients ask our advice, we provide them with the best fund managers or portfolio managers that can service them when it comes to global investments. But I do believe there are still good opportunities in equity markets. And I know that recently emerging markets have been fluctuating in a downward spiral more than where they were earlier. Prices are now in a different position and sentiment has changed towards them, but I still very much believe in our regional part of the world.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure of mine. Thank you.